How's it going, everybody? Nikki D here, coming at you live, man. Yet again, today, a Reddit post, and why a woman has said in her post, she is never dating again. Quite the story. I think we'll just get into it, and we'll go from there. So I don't know how I'm going to edit this video. Normally, this is not a longer post, but it's like a page, it's quick. So I'll probably just do it like paragraph by paragraph on the screen. You guys can get it. So here we go. So I was in a relationship for 5 years. Ended earlier this year, and on Friday I was lonely and had no plans on Halloween and decided to download Hinge. Okay? First time account. She was shocked when she got 100 plus likes on the first day, and she got pretty overwhelmed. She says, I was also shocked. A few men already asked me out within 2 days. So one guy was pretty attractive and lives in my town, asked me out, and we had a good convo on Friday, and on Saturday, so I said yes to a date. She goes, honestly, I wouldn't usually say yes so quick, but I just want to get out there and practice, and I had low expectations for the date. So yeah, just this is kind of more of a react video, but it's something I can't preference enough, man. It's like on average, women going on like online dating sites, you're gonna get overwhelmed. You're gonna get overwhelmed, and it can be a lot, So it's always like scary when you see like someone's like first, experience. They're like, oh, I haven't used Bumble before, and they're just getting swarmed. It can be a lot, especially from the women's perspective. For a lot of guys, it's actually the opposite, right? Where they get like little to no matches. So it's like, I know for myself, I get usually zero, like a month, right? So it's funny, like when you get the opposite, you get too much, and you're like, oh my god, and then you get too little, and it's an issue either side of it, right? But anyway, this one it gets interesting. So let's get into it. So he tells me that he'll pick me up today after work to take me to a restaurant, one of the ones that's more pricey, and it was his choice. I said I will drive there, and this should have been a first red flag, but he kept insisting on picking me up, and that he's a true gentleman. I doubled down, and he said, okay, I'll see you there. That is a red flag. Yeah, if I were to go on a date, now I wouldn't do a dinner date, personally, ever on a first date. You know how I feel about that. But yeah, I would never do dinner on a first date, just for a lot of reasons. But let's just say, like, for example, I did, right? And I had offered to pick up the lady. Now, again, I wouldn't do that either. I would never offer to drive on someone on a first date, because I want everybody being comfortable, right? And I want to make sure you can get there on your own, like you're independent. If you're relying on me already, maybe not a good vibe. I want you to be comfortable. I want you to be safe and me to be safe, right? There's nothing weirder than like someone who you don't know knowing where you live. Like, no, like I know where you live. It's just kind of awkward, or vice versa, right? But obviously, yeah, in this case, it's like when she said, yeah, hey, listen, I'm good, right? I'll see you there. And he insisted I don't know if I would have gone forward with that. Like that's just a really weird vibe to me. I don't know why I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's controlling, but it's not good. Like that, whatever. I don't know the exact like wording here or the definition, but it's not good. That's a bad sign. When we met up a few hours ago, I was feeling nervous, but he looked just like his photos, and he was very friendly. Bit over the top, he pushed my chair in, but he was already there and ordered us drinks, and I didn't plan to drink, but I figured because he already ordered, I should just take it. They didn't bring them out until I got there. Yeah, so that's another problem. Like, this is probably where I would have been like in my mind, right? Like, hey, by the way, I don't think this is going to work. You wouldn't say that, but I mean, like, you'd say it in your mind, because, like, it's so obvious it's not going to happen, If again, like, you get to a date, like, could you imagine that as a woman? You get to a date, and he's like, pushes your chair in. It's like, all right, that's whatever, right? It's old-fashioned, but it's okay. And then he's, like, already ordering you alcoholic beverages, and you're like, oh, I didn't really plan on drinking. And it's like, well, I got one anyway for you. I'd be like, well, you didn't ask me, right? Like, that's where I would be. It was like, you didn't even ask me. You didn't talk to me, right? So I would probably be like, yeah, it's not going to happen, right? So we end up talking mostly about what we're looking for in our jobs. He gets vulnerable and says he truly wants love, and he feels something different about me versus the other women he has met. Honestly, I wanted it to be true, but I've always been a skeptical person. That's smart. She's smart. Well, we're there for an hour. He ordered another drink and 2 appetizers and an entree. I just ordered my entree. I denied the second drink, but he kept insisting. He ordered it anyways, but I didn't drink it, so he had to drink it. I get tired when I drink, so I told him I didn't want to do any more than one. He laughed and said he had to use the bathroom since he drank so much. Okay. Yeah, so we'll get it's only like another paragraph. Yeah, so this is, like I said, this is a massive problem when you're just like constantly pushing people to drink, when you're pushing people for rides, you know, you're not valuing their opinion and their time. There is a point, like, I am glad that she has kind of stuck up for herself and straight up been like, no, right? Like, hey, can I drive you? No, no, you can't. Hey, can I meet you there? Sure. Can I get you more than one drink? No, right? Say no, right? There's nothing wrong with saying no. You're not offending anybody, and if you are, they're not mature enough to date you, right? So I'm actually really happy that she does have a backbone, because I read these posts sometimes and they don't, and it makes me really upset, because it's like you got to know when to just tell people no. You got to know when to shut people down. Anyway, he's gone to the washroom. I had a weird feeling at that moment, like, oh, don't tell me. So I waited 5 minutes. Waitress came back to check on me. I told her I was on a first date. Not gonna lie, the tears started flowing a bit because I was so embarrassed that I likely got left with the bill. And I think the guy ordered all this stuff and then left me with the bill, and I told her I only got the entree. I could tell she felt really bad, and they got the manager. Anyway, so she only paid for her side of things. You know, and I mean, I doubt he'll just roll back up. But that was really good, by the way, on the managing side, that they were like, okay, listen, like, he ghosted you, so it's cool. Like, we'll just pay what you got. That's really cool and respectful. Anytime someone does like this, like man or woman, where they like get up and leave out of a dinner date, like, I mean, that's pretty disgusting. The least you could do is just be like, hey, I wasn't feeling it. This is one of the reasons why I always say, like, coffee. Actually, one of the top comments, it's got like 3K likes or upvotes, is coffee. It's like, you go get a coffee. You could be there for 45 minutes. You could spend $2 and you can leave, right? It is like anytime you want. It is so casual. I do coffee almost always now for a first date. Now, a second or a third date, maybe we would do a dinner, but I'm not ever doing a dinner on a first date. And someone always gets flipped with the bill. Whether you split, whatever's going on, you know. The moment he started ordering all that food, I would have been like, hey, I'm going to get my bill, right? And just been like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, that's a lot of money for somebody. Yeah, it's not cool. I don't even have more to say other than it's just like, what a piece of crap. Honestly, for the guy, right? And props to her for standing up for herself and kind of like actually, you know, doubling down a bit and just being like, no, right? That's how you do that. It's insane. Yeah, cheap and free dates are the way to go, because it's casual for everybody, right? So when you put a position, when you're put in a position like that, like, what do you think most people are going to do, right? They're going to be like, yeah, okay, right? Because they're going to go on with it. They want to avoid conflict, right? I don't know. But yeah, I think he had the full intention of doing that. Maybe not from the get-go, but definitely at some point during the date, he knew he was going to do it on purpose. He's like, I'm going to order this stuff and I'm going to leave, right? So, piece of crap. Anyway, hope you guys, though, enjoyed. We're going to go on to the next video. I got another Reddit video to make, and it's a gut punch. All right, take it easy, guys. Peace.